teach you how to write quadratic equations when you have the graph or when you have just certain information, okay? So the first thing is, this is vertex form of a quadratic function. Hey, write this. So y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. The vertex is at hk. You guys stop talking. Stop talking. Listen. Thank you. So when it's in this form, then we can look at the vertex and we know exactly where the vertex, the max or the min of the parabola is, because the vertex is at hk. William, are we ready? Okay. So the first example is if we know the vertex is at 0, -6. I'll show you right now, okay? And we know that this parabola passes through the point -2, -10. Okay, William, come up here, right here. Sorry. Okay, so we have the vertex of this parabola is at 0, -6, and we know that this point, that the parabola passes through this point, and that's all we know. And we want to write the equation of the parabola, okay? So right now, the information that we have the vertex, which is h and k, and we have a point that it actually passes through. So that's an x and a y, right? When we have a coordinate on a graph, that's an x and a y. Yep. So just any point along the parabola, and we actually chose this point, okay? Now, what I want to do is I want to use this equation and plug in everything that we have here. We have the vertex, h and k, and we have the point, x and y. So we are going to plug it into this equation right here. So what is our y? Here, let me write this again. Y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. So what is our y? -10. A is the only thing that we don't know. And remember, A affects how it opens, whether it opens up or down, and how wide it is. And that's what we don't know yet. So then we're going to plug in -2 for x minus 0 squared plus, what is our k? Plus a -6. Okay, now let's simplify. So when we simplify this, we'll just have -10 equals -2 squared times a. Yes, I'm going to switch the order because we're used to seeing the variable after the number, right? After the coefficient. So I'm just going to switch it right there. And then -6. So what is -2 squared? -4 or +4? Positive 4. There you go. So -10 equals +4a minus 6. Now we just need to solve for a. So we're going to add 6 to each side. That will zero out on the right side. So it's -10 plus 6. So we have -4 equals 4a. Divide by 4, divide by 4. We get -1 is equal to a. So now we know everything in this equation because we know the vertex, right? And we know what a is now. So now we can write the equation in this form. But we want to leave x and y as x and y. We don't need to plug in a point now. So we can write y equals, remember it's a, which is -1 times x, and what was our h again? 0, so just x squared, right, because it's x minus 0 squared, and plus k, which is actually just a -6. Okay, So really, it would just be y equals negative x squared minus 6. We don't need to put the negative 1. And we don't need to put the parentheses if it's just x. Yep, leave it y and x when you write your final answer, because you're writing the equation of the parabola. So you want y and x in there. We plugged in an x and y to find out what a is. Once we know what a is, then we can write the equation of the parabola. Okay, should we do another example? One more? Okay. Maybe. This one is actually on the homework, so lucky for you guys. Okay, let me extend the page here. So let's do the vertex of this parabola is at 3, -1, and a point that it passes through is 1, -5. So what do we need to do first? We have our, well, first, if you want, just until you get used to this, I would label. Since this is the vertex, this is our H. Oh, I don't know why it did that. That was weird. This is our H and K, and our point that it passes through is a X and Y. And then, remember, this is the vertex form of any parabola, is this y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. So now let's plug in everything that we have. So we have y is equal to what? So -5 equals a is the one thing we don't know yet, times 1 minus 3 squared plus a -1. I'm just going to put -1 this time. So then we have 1 minus 3 is -2 squared times a minus 1. So what is -2 squared? Positive 4a minus 1. Then we have to do what? Yep, add 1 to each side. Get -4 equals 4a. It's the same problem we just had. Divide by 4. And we have a is equal to a -1. Good. Okay, questions up to this point? Questions on any of these steps that we did? Okay, so now that we know what a is, we plug a, h, and k into this equation, and we write the equation of the parabola. Okay? Leave x and y this time. So we'll have y equals, what is a? -1. We don't need to put the -1. You can just put the negative, but either way is fine. X minus h, so it'll be -3 squared. Then what do I put at the end? -1. If h was negative, then it would be plus, right? Because we know it's its opposite sign. No, because that's your instructions, is you want to write the equation of the parabola. So that's the equation of the parabola. Yeah, but you don't need to at that point, okay? Question? Because we used the x and y at the beginning, because the only thing we didn't know is the a. So we used an x and y on the parabola to plug it in, plug everything in except for a. So we could solve for a. Then once we know a, and we know the vertex, then we can write the equation. Because that's all we need is a, h, and k.
What did you say about it?
Remember this h, remember the saying I told you, if it lies inside, it lies? So we know that when this is graphed, is it going to go right 3 or left 3? Right 3, okay? Because this is always its opposite sign. Nope. Nope, it's actually graphed on your homework, and you have to write the equation. Okay? All right, so that was number 1. Go ahead and write the answer on your assignment.